video.
Hi, so I hope you don't mind if I do my talk not behind the podium. I don't feel very comfortable doing that. So hello, thank you for that very nice introduction. It's my first time, actually it's not my first time to talk in Salle. I gave a career talk, I think a few months ago. But this is actually the first time I'm talking about Grab and business models in the sharing economy. It's a topic actually that's close to my heart. And actually if I look back, siguro mga 3-4 years ago, hindi ko ma-imagine that I'd be standing here doing a talk. There was this time that when I graduated Salle, I said one day, I'm gonna go back to my alma mater and talk about what I'm doing. So parang they can see na may point yung in-invest nila sa akin when I was a scholar in Salle. So, yeah, so I'll try to make this talk as candid as possible and then I'll leave the questions later. I'll have a slightly different approach because I'll be talking about Grab, the company itself. Okay. So let's talk a bit about what Grab is today. Today, Grab's business is amazingly big in Southeast Asia. I don't know if you can read it clearly, but we actually will hit our USD 3 billion by end of this year. That's really big funding. So it's a combination of money, so cash funding, partnership funding, skills funding. So we have partners in Toyota recently, bookings.com. We'll double our revenues by end 2019. So you know how when startups say matagal bago mag-ROI? In Grab Philippines, actually, we've managed to hit, we've managed to become profitable for the first time this year. So it's of course thanks to the efforts of the entire team. We're present in 235 cities, 8 countries. We have more than 8 million micro-entrepreneurs on our platform. That's agents, drivers, bikers. And our target actually, so the target of the entire region is to hit 100 million, to empower 100 million people on the platform. We have more than 100 million downloads. We hit 2 billion rides in Southeast Asia. So, and we have more or less 62% market share. So it differs across the different countries that we're in. And the goal of Grab is to become the everyday super app. So how did Grab grow really? I guess you could say that it really rode on the wave of the sharing economy. And our mission now is to continue to drive Southeast Asia forward, to provide accessibility for all. I'll explain that in a bit. Of course, to promote safety and trust across the verticals, and to empower, as I mentioned, the million micro businesses. So let's go through what a ride-sharing economy is. Not ride-sharing, a sharing economy.
You've surely heard about the major disruption that's happening across automotive, hospitality, retail, entertainment and media, and technology landscapes. It goes by many names: collaborative consumption, access over ownership, the on-demand or peer-to-peer economy, and most commonly, the sharing economy. Whatever the label, it's a booming business. Already, the so-called sharing economy is upending business models across the globe, driving companies and consumers to rethink the use of underutilized assets. Uber operates in 250 cities worldwide. Airbnb has listings in more than 190 countries. Spotify pipes music to nearly 40 million users globally. Our survey showed that 44% of US adults are familiar with the sharing economy, and the more familiar they are with these services, the more excited they feel. Nearly 1 in 5 adults say they have participated in the sharing economy as a consumer. 7% say they have participated as a provider. Collectively, these business models are changing the way consumers think about value, assessing the impact of goods and services on their wallet, their time, and the planet.
Okay, so I cut that video short. I'll go through it. So shared economy, it was mentioned in the video that instead of ownership, it's now all about providing access. So it's a trend, it's an ongoing trend, so it allows for a more efficient demand-driven utilization of available resources. So, think of that day na, okay, I want to run a transport business. I buy all these cars. Oh no, I have to find a lot to put the cars in so that they, the park. And then I have to deal with all the drivers. So, that's different now because now, like for Grab, we don't own a single car. We don't own a single car, we don't own a single bike, we don't own a single restaurant. And yet, all these people transact on the platform. And there is such a great impact on the community. Why? So there's basically a sharing of the demand, you create jobs, there's social mobility, and there's a whole lot of convenience happening. May funny story na ako, like I come from a very traditional Chinese family, and my mom and my dad, of course, my mom never goes anywhere without my dad. Kailangan either may driver siya or hahatidin siya ng daddy ko to go anywhere. Ever since nagkaroon ng Grab, her favorite line now is, to my dad, is, hindi ako magpapapulis sa'yo. I can go wherever. Kung gusto mo maging homebody, ako, I will be the innovative type. I will continue to live my life. May ganyan na silang drama yun. Yeah, so, I mean, imagine how it changes, diba? It gives even yung mga most traditional, it really changes the way you live, the way you behave. But it's not easy. It's not easy because it's a multi-stakeholder market. So, if you look at this actually, so Grab sits here, tech companies. Then you have all these consumers who interact with the partners and the merchants. By partners, I define that by the supply chain, so the bikers, the riders. And the merchants will be your restaurant owners, the people we deliver from, and of course the regulators. I'm sure you've seen us in the news all the time. Pag nakita niyo po ako doon, masungit tignan. Maraming issues lang talaga. Yeah. So, it's very difficult kasi you have to manage, you have to live within an environment that is highly regulated, especially for transport. There are rules. Now that we're going into payment, VSP is another thing altogether. We have to look at security of funds, cash in, cash out. And of course, there is a whole lot of issues on safety, security. Can I trust the system? Can I trust my life with it? Can I trust my family who rides in the car? So all of these things we have to think about. But I would say to this day, the potentials are so big, and it is actually what drives the team to keep doing the things that we do. Sabi nga ni Ma'am Kit sa akin kanina, do you see yourself staying in Grab for a long time? Sabi ko sa kanya, what drives us to stay in Grab is really wanting to make a difference. Really wanting to make a change. And it takes a certain character to do that kasi it's very challenging. So, the potentials will be, of course, people. You have incredibly engaged stakeholders, consumers, merchants, delivery partners, all of which go to social media to provide their feedback, right? Lahat kayo, you probably, every time you want to rant, you go on social media. Every time you want to share feedback, you want to share an idea, it goes on social media. So we look at all these things. And of course, for the planet, more sustainable future. Given that if you share the resources, then there's less, let's say, carbon dioxide emissions. And for revenue, because of sharing of resources and all that demand, you actually create more earning opportunities and shared value. And this is actually very true. If I look at the drivers that I talked to from when I started, yung mga taxi drivers before, hindi yan gumagamit ng phone. They have no idea how to use a smartphone. And yet, today, we have thousands of drivers operating on Grab Taxi. They actually know how to operate mobile phones, as well as those who are just creates so much opportunity across the different segments and sort of, I guess, levels out yung differences in our socioeconomic standing. So why does Grab exist? We actually exist to solve local problems. We want to help people move and commute. We started here in 2013 as a transport company. Today, actually, our challenge is to get known beyond being a transport company. We were the first country in the world to regulate ride-hailing. I didn't know we will be the most regulated, but we are. We are the largest transport company, and today we have all these cities. When I started in Grab a year and about 8 months ago, a year and 8 months ago. We were only in about Metro Manila, Cebu, Bacolod, Iloilo. And today we are in all these cities and expanding verticals. So, hindi natatapos yung sharing economy eh. When you start with something, you go to the next question of, okay, what's next? What other opportunities are there, right? Meron nga bang iba pang pwedeng gawin? So, Grab Taxi, we started, and then we said, okay, private car, Grab car. And then we said, okay, let's share the ride. Kasi limited supply, we did Grab share. And this one you haven't seen yet because this is launched in Binalonan. This is what we call the Grab Premium Trike. So, it's a mas fuel efficient trike siya that is supposed to be safer than your usual habal-habal. Hindi ba? Maraming nakasakay. Yeah. And we are already in talks to develop Grab Bus, Grab Jeep, and a couple of other services. So please watch out. Madaming trabaho. Yeah, please watch out for that. Yeah. So, wala bang Grab Jeep? Madami, Grab UV, gano'n. B2. Grab Day. We did Grab Heli. That was a fun campaign. We had Grab Horse. Grab Horse, a Grab Rap sa CBO. So the team comes up with all these different ideas. So we hear the future that Filipinos want. Actually, when we hit our 1 billionth ride, we did a survey to our top consumers. And then we said, okay, if you look at Grab, like, in the future, what would you like to see in Grab? And this is the word cloud that came out. Hindi ko sure back ba yung volcano yung gusto nila, but the word cloud that came out, and you see the middle word says one-stop app. So everyone says, okay, there's so many apps, so many services, so many things we can share. How come, why don't you just, put it all in one app? And that makes perfect sense. I will do this. Okay. Why does it make perfect sense? Because we already have the transport base. Imagine you have a platform with millions of Grab users. Almost everyone in Metro Manila, I would say, has a Grab app. And if we're already there and we can tap into the space who's already there, ano po ba yung needs nila? And then we said, okay, how about we do deliveries? So we put in bikers, they were doing deliveries for us, parcel. And then we said, if the bikers have downtime, so you don't deliver naman the entire day, right? So minsan may tambay time, that's what I call it. We said, okay, the next best thing to do it, maybe deliver food. Kasi what else would you use a bike for? Like a motorbike. So then we went into food delivery. And if we have everyone here in this platform, of course they're gonna have a lot of needs, right? Kasi not everyone has access to a bank. Not everyone has access to a bank, to financial services. And because we have the tech capability to do that, and of course the investment and the funding to do that, we decided to go to GrabPay and financial services. So now, through the entire platform, you're able to empower all these micro entrepreneurs, as we call them, small business owners. And even those, let's say, without a store, in home-based industries, the ones that bake cakes, they make cupcakes, and then they sell it to their friends. Now they have a virtual storefront with Grab Food. Because they can be there and they don't have to pay rent. And all of that becomes rewarding because you earn points. So Grab Rewards. So it's an entire ecosystem, and it can only get bigger. In Indonesia, actually, we already have Grab Fresh, which is groceries. There are a couple of other new things like laundry. So imagine, maghahatid ng laundry nyo. So then that brings us to Grab, your everyday app. So transport, rewards and payments, a lifestyle app for food, your other needs, and access to financial services. I mentioned this on transport. Basically, the goal is to enable a multimodal transport future. First mile, last mile. Hindi ka naman mag-grab car all the way. So I'll take a car to the station. Hopefully from the station, there's another option. And then I take a shuttle. I'll show a video later. It's very interesting. For food, we want to satisfy the cravings. Every Pinoy goes to the whole, ang hirap ng thesis ko, I deserve this. Diba? I deserve this. Ang hirap ng meeting ko, ang hirap ng presentation ko, I deserve this. Yan, pag-order ng food. Yan. And just to show you that it's highly scalable and there is money to be made here, imagine, we are the fastest growing on-demand food delivery service. You guys are familiar with Food Panda, right? Food Panda, Honestbee, yun ang ating food. Yun. We've been here 5 months, and I will not release the numbers, but in the 5 months time, we've actually already surpassed that. In 5 months. We have over 4,000 merchants on the platform today, and that's just 5 months of effort. So I was at the launch in BGC the other night. A reporter came to me and said, "Ma'am, I have an article I'm writing on the future of tech companies. Where do you think GrabFood will be in 10 years? Tingin sa mga guys. 10 years? Hindi, next year yun. Next year yun. Saka na lang tayo mag-usap, ang layo ng 10 years. Parang baka doon, pag-gising mo, hindi ka pa nag-order, nandun na yung food sa door. Na-predict na niya. There. So, such big growth. And we said, okay, what are other opportunities? So we have the bikers, they're delivering food, they're delivering parcels. What else can we do to, get more people doing other things, enabling people? And we said, what's the problem of millennials nowadays? Busy sa work. We said, if you're overwhelmed and you don't have time, maybe we could expand deliveries to do errands. Then we said, napansin ko kasi yung office mate ko, laging may kape, may Starbucks. Our office kasi is in Chino Roses. It's in the middle of nowhere, there's no coffee place. And sabi ko sa kanya, how come every morning when you come in, hindi ka naman mukhang pawis, ang layo ng Starbucks? How come you always have a Starbucks? He told me, he said, I tell my Grab Express driver to buy me coffee, tapos I pay him extra. Sabi ko, that's not a bad idea. Sabi ko, why don't we do that? Yeah. So actually, we're the first country. We're very proud of it. We're the only country in Southeast Asia to have Grab Assistant. So with Grab Assistant, we thought of all the possible use cases. Buy your meds, you need to buy dog food, you need to go grocery last minute, shampoo, in 7-Eleven, there. So, daming pwede. You should see some of the things people have asked the Grab assistants to do. The most popular one is going to Coco and lining up for milk tea. I don't know why people love milk tea, but they do. Trust me, grabe yung milk tea. Kaya siya sumikat actually daw sa milk tea. And, apart from that, if now you're connected, everything with all these services, what then are the opportunities there? So we came up with Grab Daily. You'll see this in the new app. Eventually, this will be smarter. Sir mentioned a while ago about AI. It will be smarter, more predictive. The more you use the app, the more it will tell you, like, now if you open the app, it says, "Hi Cindy, what do you want to do today?" Yeah. So may ganun na. Eventually, you'll start seeing more things there. And when I go into payments, which we just got our e-money license, then we go into offering solutions for the underbanked and unbanked. You get them literacy, you offer them loans. Because of the way that the drivers and the merchants transact on the app, we can now score them. Pwede ka nang may credit score. Hindi na siya katulad ng before, you have to go to a bank, present documents and stuff. Here we can tell, are they paying, are they paying on time? Are they transacting well? Do they have payables? How much do they sell? How much do they deliver? We can see all of that. And that now reduces that socioeconomic gap, as I mentioned. And the very last, I'm almost to the end. And we said, if this is the platform, how now do I make more impact to the community? How do I help other businesses grow? So the last bit, which we just launched in October of this year, is what I call Grab Ads. So we tap into a world of data to help other businesses grow. Imagine everyone who transacts in the app. We know what they eat, we know what time they eat, what they order, where did they go. Trust me, milk tea really is number one. Capturing all these behaviors, and imagine, so not yung mga private data, nililinaw ko lang. All these behaviors, we know who are students, over 80% in the 20 to 30 age group are single. Yeah. And access all these data, and then create solutions that actually help advertisers, solutions that help other brands. And so we're in a whole lot of collaboration now. With sharing, kasi even for us, for Grab, collaboration is the name of the game. You look for partners, you decide how else can we make things better for people. So fleet, in-app, custom audiences, and of course, so I guess what I wanted to make clear is it's not all, fluffy and nice. There are a lot of challenges. And if you play in the sharing economy, you have to think about things like trust. Can I scale? Remember that issue when you couldn't get a Grab card? Alam niyo yun, diba? Yeah, I know, sleepless nights. Couldn't get a Grab card, and trying to, meet the demand. And even as we grow food, grow express, these are things we battle on a day-to-day basis. And of course, safety and security. Is my card info safe? Diba? More than just, getting into the right safety of the passenger, we now look into things like, safe ba yung card info ko? Mabibenta ba yung mga things na nilagay ko dyan since nakalink yung profile ko? Will it get to someone else that it shouldn't get to? And is there fraud there? Am I insured for the things that if something happens to me, will I get insured? If the driver loses my things, will it be insured? So we look at all of these things. And then we push for equal responsibility across stakeholders. So when we had a problem, when we acquired Uber and we couldn't get a ride and there were so many haters, so it was a very difficult and challenging transformation time for us. I'll tell you a story. When I came into Grab back in March 2017, noong time na yun, Grab was very driver-centric. Very driver-centric. We were throwing promotions left and right. That's basically how we grew, to be honest. Throwing promotions left and right, doing events, partners, and all that. And although we had initiatives on, say, safety, security, hindi siya ganun ka-consistent. That's what I would call it. And of course, we did allow the drivers a lot of room to choose to be flexible. But sometimes I would admit to the detriment of the consumers, right? And so, hindi natin na-feel yun kasi may Uber. So meron kang equally big, to be honest, so I'm not saying it's a monopoly kaya ganun siya. I'm just saying that, when you have competitors, the name of the game is to get that number, right? We're business students. I won't be a hypocrite to say now, no, it's, perfecting the experience. Hindi, it's really hitting that number. And after the acquisition, so madaming galit. No, we really had this decision in the office, nakatayo ako ng sabi ko, guys, pag wala tayong ginawa dito, wala na akong brand na ipaglalaban. So we'll just kill it. So then the company, you have to get buy-in, and then the company and management decided to go, okay, aminin na lang natin that we have lapses. Right? Thus the 100-day plan. So we came out with a 100-day plan that was cross-functional, covered things like driver behavior, better ride experience, upgrading all of the customer support, onboarding BPOs, taking over social media agents, and of course, the driver welfare program. And then continuing to do things like to be a leader for driving safety standards for transport across the industries.